The very first time that you're going to meet up with somebody, I'm going to be there.
Your sister likes women.
Julian got caught by her school webcamming with a girl. It's a friend of hers and, well, yeah, got kicked out of school.
Well, at least she's not hitting on her aunt.
You are embarrassing me.
I'm sorry if I lashed out at you out there. I know that you're bisexual. It's time to expand, talk to her.
Yeah.
Maybe something will come along with it.
Scarlett told me to kind of come in here and check on you. You're into women? Yeah.
I think I just need somebody to cuddle me and make me feel safe. Would you do that for me?
Told you?
Your skin is so soft.
I'm on a MDC now. I saw this mother-daughter, and they're looking for like someone to help them study World War II.
We don't know anything about World War II.
We'll just make something up.
How many soldiers did you say died?
Over 16,000. We can continue this back at our house.
You'll have her back by 6.
Enough about our family. What about you? Do you have a boyfriend? Sounds like you got yourself a real loser.
Why don't, you try kissing a girl, like with Dana?
What is this for? Did you get into UT? I didn't even know you were dating a boy to get a ring.
We're engaged.
You're engaged, Mom. All 3 of you are moving to New York next week. We would love for you to join us. I could try it, and with you guys it'd be fun, and I could be with you still.
You could shack up with Jay. We were gonna share a bedroom. We were gonna have to do wifely duties.
We can go explore together in the bedroom.
You're wanting to see if I can please you.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter has no idea what I can do.
Scene 4 presents one of the film's most tonally complex and thematically revealing sequences, weaving together elements of humor, shock, vulnerability, and emotional negotiation into a moment that ultimately speaks less about surface-level provocation and more about the layered, often contradictory ways women come to understand intimacy, power, and selfhood. At the outset, the conversation between Reagan and Jade is framed by a sense of excitement and forward motion, centered on the promise of relocation and reinvention in New York City, a place that has long functioned symbolically within queer narratives as a site of possibility, anonymity, and self-creation. The description of the apartment overlooking Central Park reinforces this sense of aspiration, presenting a life that feels elevated, curated, and perhaps slightly unreal, as though the characters are stepping into a version of themselves that has yet to fully solidify. Yet even within this aspirational framing, there is an undercurrent of instability, as the suddenness of the move, the inheritance of the space, and the lack of long-term planning all suggest that this new life is being built on emotion rather than structure. When Reagan reveals the engagement, the moment initially reads as celebratory but quickly becomes a site of tension, particularly in the generational disconnect that follows. Jade's reaction, marked by surprise and an attempt to reconcile this news with heteronormative expectations, underscores how deeply ingrained assumptions about relationships continue to shape perception. The confusion is not merely about the engagement itself, but about the framework through which it is understood, revealing the persistent cultural expectation that women's romantic lives must conform to familiar patterns in order to be legible. Reagan's insistence on the validity of her relationship, delivered with both enthusiasm and defiance, signals a refusal to conform to those expectations. Yet it also reveals the emotional labor required to assert that legitimacy in the face of disbelief. As the conversation expands to include the possibility of Jade joining them, the dynamic shifts from revelation to persuasion, introducing a layered interplay of care, dependency, and subtle pressure. The offer for Jade to move in is framed as generous and inclusive, emphasizing togetherness and mutual support, yet it also carries implicit expectations about roles, responsibilities, and adaptability. The language of helping, assisting, and building a shared life together reflects a vision of chosen family that is deeply resonant within queer communities, where traditional structures may not always provide the necessary support or understanding. However, the scene complicates this ideal by embedding within it a set of unspoken conditions that challenge the boundaries between support and obligation. Reagan's framing of the arrangement as an opportunity for Jade to explore new dimensions of herself introduces a tension between invitation and expectation, highlighting how even well-intentioned offers can carry an undercurrent of coercion when tied to emotional belonging. This tension becomes more pronounced as the conversation turns toward intimacy, not in a physical sense, but as a broader question of emotional compatibility and shared understanding. Reagan's approach to this topic is characterized by a mix of confidence and performative boldness, suggesting that she is attempting to assert control over a situation that is, at its core, deeply uncertain. Her framing of intimacy as something that can be evaluated, tested, or proven reflects a desire for reassurance, both for herself and for the future she is attempting to build. Yet this framing also risks reducing a complex, deeply personal experience into a set of criteria, revealing the ways in which societal narratives about relationships can shape even those who seek to move beyond them. Jade's response, initially hesitant but gradually more engaged, reflects a different kind of negotiation. One that is less about control and more about curiosity, adaptation, and the desire to remain connected. Her willingness to entertain the possibility of this new arrangement suggests both openness and vulnerability as she navigates the unfamiliar terrain of her daughter's evolving identity and the role she is being asked to play within it. The shift to a more private setting marks a turning point in the scene, not because of any explicit action, but because of the emotional intimacy it represents. Removed from the performative space of shared conversation, the interaction between Regan and Jade becomes more focused, more deliberate, and more revealing of their underlying motivations. Regan's attempt to guide the interaction reflects her broader role within the narrative as someone who is actively shaping her environment, seeking to create conditions that align with her desires and expectations. Yet beneath this assertiveness lies a need for validation, a desire to ensure that the life she is building is not only possible but sustainable. Jade, in contrast, occupies a position that is both reactive and transformative, responding to Regan's cues while also bringing her own history, experiences, and emotional complexity into the interaction. Her eventual shift from uncertainty to a more grounded sense of presence suggests that she is not merely adapting to Regan's framework, but actively renegotiating it, asserting her own agency within a situation that initially appears to be defined by others. This negotiation of agency is central to the scene's thematic resonance, particularly in its exploration of power dynamics within relationships between women. The interplay between Regan's confidence and Jade's evolving self-assurance reflects a broader pattern within queer communities, where differences in experience, age, and self-awareness can create both opportunities for growth and potential imbalances of power. The scene does not present these dynamics as inherently problematic, but it does invite reflection on the responsibilities that come with influence, particularly when one person is navigating unfamiliar aspects of their identity. Jade's gradual assertion of her own perspective challenges the initial imbalance, suggesting that true connection requires not only openness, but mutual recognition and respect. This shift is subtle but significant, marking a movement away from a dynamic defined by persuasion toward one characterized by reciprocity. The emotional core of the scene lies in its exploration of self-recognition, particularly as it unfolds within a context shaped by societal expectations and personal history. Jade's journey within this interaction reflects a broader narrative of women who have spent much of their lives operating within prescribed roles, only to encounter moments that challenge those roles and invite reconsideration. Her initial hesitation can be understood not as resistance, but as a reflection of the internalized norms that have shaped her understanding of herself and her relationships. The process of moving beyond those norms is neither immediate nor straightforward. It requires a willingness to sit with uncertainty, to question long-held assumptions, and to remain open to new possibilities. Regan's role in this process is complex, functioning both as a catalyst and as a mirror, reflecting back to Jade aspects of herself that may have remained unexamined. Yet the scene ultimately suggests that this process of recognition must be self-directed, emerging from within rather than being imposed from without. This emphasis on internal discovery aligns with the film's broader commitment to portraying identity as an evolving, deeply personal experience rather than a fixed or externally defined category. The scene also engages with the theme of generational continuity, illustrating how patterns of repression, adaptation, and self-discovery can persist across different stages of life. Jade's experiences echo those of other characters in the film, suggesting that the challenges of understanding and expressing one's desires are not limited to youth but can emerge at any point, often in response to new relationships or changing circumstances. This intergenerational perspective enriches the narrative, highlighting the ways in which women's lives are interconnected, shaped by both shared experiences and individual journeys. It also underscores the importance of creating spaces where these experiences can be acknowledged and explored without judgment, allowing for a more nuanced understanding of identity and connection. At a broader cultural level, the scene can be read as a commentary on society's ongoing discomfort with women's relationships with one another, particularly when those relationships move beyond the boundaries of friendship or familial connection. This discomfort often manifests in two opposing but equally limiting ways: through erasure, where such relationships are ignored or minimized, and through sensationalization, where they are exaggerated and stripped of emotional depth. By focusing on the interior lives of its characters, the film resists both tendencies, presenting a portrayal that is grounded in emotional realism and complexity. The emphasis on dialogue, hesitation, and gradual recognition challenges the notion that intimacy must be immediate or clearly defined, instead highlighting the value of ambiguity as a space for growth and understanding. This approach is particularly significant within the context of queer representation, where narratives have often been constrained by the need to either conform to or react against dominant cultural expectations. By prioritizing emotional truth over spectacle, the film offers a more authentic and respectful depiction of women's relationships, one that acknowledges both their challenges and their possibilities. Ultimately, Scene 4 serves as a meditation on the process of becoming visible, both to oneself and to others, within a world that does not always provide the language or space for that visibility. It suggests that this process is not linear or easily resolved, but is instead shaped by a series of interactions, choices, and moments of recognition that accumulate over time. The relationships depicted in the scene are not presented as perfect or fully realized, but as works in progress, reflecting the ongoing nature of self-discovery and connection. By centering the emotional experiences of its characters, the film creates a narrative that is both deeply specific and broadly resonant, inviting viewers to reflect on their own journeys and the ways in which they navigate the complexities of identity, intimacy, and belonging. In doing so, it contributes to a larger cultural conversation about the importance of visibility, empathy, and respect in representing women's lives, affirming that these stories are not about provocation or transgression, but about truth, care, and the enduring human desire for connection.